welcome to Overdrive. I'm Shireen Bhan. Over the past few months, our mailboxes have been inundated with queries on the Bajaj Pulsar 200 NS. Now, while the company has been content letting the KTM Duke 200 hog the limelight since the launch early this year, it's now time for Bajaj's flagship product, the Pulsar, to find its place under the sun. Abhay takes it out for its first television test ride to find out if the Pulsar 200 NS lives up to the hype.
The Bajaj Pulsar has been one of the biggest success stories in the country when it comes to performance motorcycling. For over a decade now, Pulsars have enchanted enthusiasts, but for the first time we have an all-new Pulsar in the form of the 200 NS. We've had a chance to ride the motorcycle a few months back, but now it's time to test it to see how good it is. In terms of the design, the Pulsar was a bit stuck because the tank was such a strong identity element. However, with the new Pulsar, Bajaj have moved on, and how. It's a very striking design, and especially the fuel tank and the new front end give it a very distinctive identity. However, one aspect I feel they could have bettered though is the rear end of the bike.
The new headlamp and fuel tank design are the biggest attractions on the 200 NS. The triangular headlight hints at the bike's aggressive nature, while the large fuel tank and perimeter frame give it the appearance of being a much larger motorcycle. Also, the knee recesses on the fuel tank are not purely cosmetic and accommodate the rider's knees well. The fresh design of the alloys is a welcome change too and adds to the character of the bike. However, we do feel that Bajaj could have avoided giving the Pulsar the rear tire hugger, which most owners are sure to get rid of. To really give the 200 NS the once-over, we took it for a long ride across a variety of different road and traffic conditions, taking advantage of Mumbai's sparse monsoon. So let's take a look at every aspect of this bike, starting with the power plant.
The Pulsar's engine is very similar to the KTM's. The gearbox and crankshaft are virtually identical, but the top of the engine is different, which is a big difference. The pent-roof combustion chamber on the Pulsar has allowed Bajaj to plug in 3 spark plugs, 4 valves and a single camshaft. The biggest advantage of these 3 spark plugs can be felt when riding at low revs and part throttle, which makes the Pulsar a delight in the city.
But crack the throttle open and the Pulsar is quick to change character, transforming into an able highway machine. Overall, this engine is a serious improvement over the last generation of Pulsars and is sure to delight almost every kind of rider. The 6-speed gearbox is also vastly improved, offering slick, positive shifts to match the engine's performance. Throttle response is quick despite the lack of fuel injection, and the step up in performance as compared to even the larger Pulsar 200 NS is huge. For those interested, the triple spark ignition and 4 valves also help the 200 NS deliver better fuel efficiency than the KTM Duke 200, despite the blistering performance. And yes, before we forget, the 200 NS continues with the Pulsar tradition of being an absolute hooligan, with the ability to rear its head whenever the rider wishes.
In keeping with its budget positioning, the Bajaj Pulsar 200 NS gets very simple parts. For the first time, there's a monoshock on a Pulsar, but that aside, it's a pretty basic motorcycle. But what Bajaj have got right is the tuning of the chassis, since this is definitely an able handler. It's not as quick as the KTM, but yes, it's certainly nice to ride, and the ride quality is very, very good too.
But what you do miss is the grip of the KTM, which gets those radial tires, especially when you're leaning into a corner, and these tires, after a while, just don't have the grip to carry on. The chassis has the ability, but unfortunately, the tires don't. So if you're buying a 200 NS and you think it's not doing so well, just upgrade the tires. The big improvement over the last generation Pulsars, well, it's in the feel. This is every man's motorcycle and it will do practically anything that's asked of it.
We said when we were testing the KTM that the 200 Duke is not for everybody, and it's now time to say the diametrically opposite thing. The Pulsar 200 NS could be the motorcycle for everybody. This is the best Pulsar we've tested yet, and definitely Bajaj have done a very clever thing by taking off all the exotic bits from the KTM, replacing them with budget bits, and in the process creating a motorcycle that works really well at a very good price.